So next thing we're going to talk about is drive, essentially what would be also called distortion, but specifically overdrive. Now with bass, I find that if I'm playing anything rock or metal, that drive really, really helps send the mix into a really great place. You know, traditionally back in the day, if you ever hear bands from the 80s, it's distorted guitars with clean bass, and it always sounds very thin, right? With overdriven bass, you start finding out that essentially that is the low end in heavy music that makes it sound good. It is the low end. In a proper mix, the bass is mixed equally to the guitars because all the instruments are assigned frequencies, right? The bass is the cake, the flour, the batter, and then the guitars are the icing on top. And if it works all together, you have a very powerful mix. And that's also why drive is so important, because if the guitars have this nice saturation, but then all of a sudden the low end is squeaky clean, it sounds like something's kind of hollow, right? And this is what this helps a lot, because really if you're doing it correctly, the heaviness comes from the bass, and then all the shimmer and shine and definition comes from the guitar. So essentially, like, you know, you hear a difference right here. You hear all this power coming from what's happening. You know, it's really something else that you really can hear why things sound good that way, regardless of what technique you're playing. If I want to thump it like, right, I can still get that definition. If I'm doing slaps, right, it gets cut, it has low end bloom. And on top of that, it really gives aggression to what you're playing. Nowadays, we have pedals like such dark glass pedals and such that will essentially make it so that the gain staging is correct, and that on top of that, you know, you can transition and have dynamic bloom with everything. So if you're playing anything heavy, try and invest in a good drive pedal. You don't have to set it to a crazy amount. I have it a little bit more oversaturated here just so you can hear it, but that way you can hear why people would want to do something like that. I can't recommend it enough, because even if you're doing something very simple, like rock, you kind of want a little bit of saturation in your tone to help it sit in a mix. It adds a little bit of compression to the signal as well. So essentially it's for a better mix and a better sound overall. And really, the bass is the heaviness in a hard rock or metal tune, if it's done well.